Good evening and welcome to the first of three meetings tonight. My name is Dennis Buckley, Mayor of the City of Beech Grove. And at this time, we will convene our Board of Sanitation meeting for Monday, December the 2nd, 2013. In lieu of a roll call, I will ask each participant to introduce himself, beginning on my far right.
Ed Bell.
Dan McMillan, Clerk Treasurer.
Craig Wiley, City Attorney.
Sandy Seward.
Thank you, board members. Before you tonight, you have printed copy of the minutes dated Monday, November the 18th, 2013. At this time, the floor is open for question, comments, or corrections.
I had reviewed the minutes and I have no changes, corrections.
I have none either.
Motion to approve as presented.
I'll make said motion.
And I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye and the motion carries. Board, next item of business is the wastewater claims. Before you have one page of claims dated December 2nd, 2013. The claims are in the amount of $72,759.37. Floor is open for questions.
I do have a couple, please.
All right.
On the second item, line item, Big Dog Flooring in the amount of $5,170.
That was DPW for your flooring out there, is that correct, Brad?
Yeah,
I thought we did that a couple,
this was for installation.
thank you. And another one, still in the, I don't know, about 7 down, Gar King Enterprises, in the amount of $3,730. Sewage repair, maintenance, paint.
Yeah, they painted the whole building inside.
Thank you.
And they did drywall repair, which was pretty substantial at our place.
And also the one right below that, Dan Hartman Janitorial, in the amount of $2,500.
Brad, do you know what that was?
Those were for electric hand dryers for the whole building for $5, in lieu of towels, which are really expensive and disposable. So I've been looking for a while to go to the hand dryers. Long term, I think they project to pay for themselves within the first year.
Sure. Okay, thanks, Brad.
Yep.
I have no further questions.
I have one, about the 1, 2, 3, well, Fitzgerald and Fitzgerald sewage and repair maintenance.
That's our building. They fixed the wall in my office. There was other drywall repair. They made the bathrooms ADA compliant, and then they put a new kitchen in.
Oh, okay. The only thing that threw me, it was like sewage repairs. What in the world are they doing with
Fixed the
sewage?
building, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
repairs to the building.
right.
Yeah, our building, if you guys, and Ed, I know you've been out there, but it was really in disrepair. I mean, you know,
Oh, yeah.
it's hadn't really had any significant work probably since 1981. And if you walk in it now, I know the mayor was out there today. It looks really nice. Everybody that was involved, all the contractors did a great job. When the painters were done, I mean, those walls looked brand new. So it was well worth the money. I think the guys are really happy and puts a better image out there to people that come in and see what we do. A long time coming, and luckily this year with the purchase of the new trash trucks, I had some extra. And I was able to do that.
Good.
And we appreciate it.
Thanks, Brad.
If you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, commercial sewer, that was televising, wasn't it? For,
I believe that was the, you want me to,
yes,
okay, sorry. I don't-
this is relevant.
I'll answer from the back row. Yeah, we had, it's like a lot of things with the sewer system. Sometimes one little drain or phone call can lead to finding out. It's like chasing the rabbit trail. So had a neighbor call us. It was the alley between, I think it was between 7th and 8th, or maybe, yeah, just south of here in that first block there with a 100 block. And somebody called us and said, well, our neighbor covered up a drain. They graveled their driveway portion, and there was a drain there, and they've covered it up with gravel. So we dug the drain out. Phil had some questions about where this drain went, so we dyed it, and then found that there was some kind of a crossover connection when you hit about Albany with the storm and the sanitary. So we weren't sure how it was getting in because we dyed what was essentially a storm drain, but it was ending up in the sanitary down there, which is obviously not what you want because we pay to treat that water. And that's just anytime it rains, you're going to pay to treat clear flow, which costs a lot of money and can be pretty substantial in the amount. So we had commercial come in and televise it to see exactly what's going on, and now we're working with Wessler to put together something to repair that. So that's what happened.
And I think in the package that I'm going to give the council, Wessler did an assessment. It was like $80,000
Yeah, it wasn't a cheap one,
to
but
fix,
Fix.
to fix this.
probably
And-
something that had been this way for a long time. But if you do the math on what it probably costs to treat all that water, it's better to spend the money and get it fixed than to each month, have all that additional flow put into your sanitary.
Now, Brad, I'm gonna just raise a question, because I've heard some other situations of the same. Years ago, when this sanitation system and drainage went in, was it supposed to be separate, or did they didn't really care if some intermixed?
No, it's always been separated storm sewer system. That's why we're classified as an MS4 operation, municipal separated storm sewer system. So the storm is separate from the sanitary. But sometimes, because those pipes aren't always geographically very far from one another, and work's been done in the past, I'd say many years ago, where I wasn't there, and I'm not saying anything negative about it, but sometimes maybe the contractors, or some of the work even maybe that the city did, was maybe questionable. I don't know what you want to say about it, but sometimes you ended up with things maybe not done exactly how they should have been done. And so those things occasionally get uncovered by us, and then our job obviously is to fix it. Or this isn't something where it's a health issue because you're not getting sanitary into the storm. It's the other way around. But it's just you always want to eliminate what they call I&I, which is infiltration and inflow to that sanitary system, which you can't eliminate it completely because laterals are private. You're going to have X amount of bad laterals out there for people that have old clay tile pipes that connect to their sewer that can't afford to fix it or have just been dealing with it for years, where rain's going to get into their private line. It's going to work its way into our system. You're going to have some of it, but these are the types of things when you uncover them that you want to immediately fix because you're talking about probably thousands of gallons of water. I don't know what the time period would be, but in a heavy rain, you're getting a lot. But you don't always know that they're there until something like this happens. And then, you dye it a lot of times and you try to track that flow where it goes, or you can smoke test it or run a camera in there, which is what we did. So we have a pretty good handle on our system. This was kind of not want to say it was totally shocking, but it shocked me. Phil said he had seen stuff like this in the past, but thought we had eliminated all of them. This was one that we didn't know was there. So, and probably wouldn't have had this drain thing not happen. So like I said, sometimes it's the smallest things will lead you to, once you start peeling the layers back, you find out there's a bigger issue maybe.
There'll be a lot of construction work in this resident's yard. Is there a lot to dig up?
No, I think most of the work would be at the end of the alley, more towards Albany. That's actually where the problem's at. And as the mayor mentioned, Wessler will put together a more detailed report of exactly what they'll have to do to fix it. But no, the drain's fine. That particular drain isn't the issue. It's on down the way where we started kind of tracking where this drain went, led to one more thing that didn't look quite right, and then finally led to this area where there's some kind of cross connection between the two that we want to eliminate. Yep.
Thanks, Brad. One more I want to point out, if you go to the 11th space down, raised trash service, $1,436. That is for heavy trash that we pick up we take it back to DPW, and then Ray's comes and picks it up for us. So we counter that by charging for heavy trash pickup. And that's what we try to do, is to offset the cost of that, disposing of that trash. So I want to make that clear. That's on the bill every month. And, but anyway, any other questions for board members?
I have none.
Yes, sir.
If there's no other questions, ask for a motion to approve the wastewater claims in the amount of $72,759.37.
I'll make said motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. There's no unfinished business from the previous meeting. We have no new business tonight. Comments from board members?
I have none. Thank you.
I have none tonight.
Motion to adjourn the Board of Sanitation meeting.
I'll make said motion.
And I'll second.
The meeting is adjourned at 6:11 PM. We will convene Board of Works in 10 minutes. Thank you very much. Good evening and welcome to the second of 3 meetings tonight. My name is Dennis Buckley, Mayor of the City of Beech Grove, and at this time we will convene our Board of Public Works and Safety meeting for Monday, December the 2nd, 2013. In lieu of a roll call, I will ask each participant to introduce themselves, beginning on my far right.
Ed Bell.
Dan McMillan, Clerk Treasurer.
Craig Wiley, City Attorney.
Sandy Seward.
Thank you, board members. We have 2 sets of minutes tonight for approval. The first set is the minutes from the meeting dated Monday, November the 18th, 2013. Floor is open for question, comments, or corrections.
I have reviewed the minutes, and I have a couple of questions, or a couple corrections, please. On page 4, third paragraph, Mary presented a slideshow of the deteriorating infrastructure, and it should say photos and not a slideshow.
Okay.
Do you see that?
Yeah, where it should say photos.
Yes. And on page 5, third paragraph, a few of the expenses included are aerial photos, just a correction of aerial. And that is all I have.
Where was it at, Sandy?
Sorry, on page 5,
Uh-huh.
the third paragraph.
Okay.
Aerial
Oh, it's just
is
misspelled.
misspelling. Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Everything else looks good.
Okay.
I have none.
With those corrections in place, a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll make said motion.
And I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I also vote aye, and the motion carries. Board members, we had a special meeting on Monday, November the 25th, 2013, and the minutes were in your packet for approval. The floor is open for question, comments, or corrections on these minutes.
Any corrections?
I have none.
If not, a motion to approve the minutes dated Monday, November the 25th, 2013, as presented.
I'll make said motion.
I do have a correction. I just saw it.
Okay.
Page 4, adjournment, Sandra Bell. We're married again, Ed.
Oh, there you go.
Well, congratulations. I'll let John know.
I just caught it, yep.
Okay.
So with that minor correction, I'll make said motion to approve these minutes with that major
Nope.
correction.
And I'll be glad to make those changes.
Ed, will you second, please?
I will second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I also vote aye, and the motion carries. On to approval of claims. Board, before you have 3 pages of corporate claims in the amount of $1,163,387.27. Floor is open for questions or comments.
No questions. First page, fourth one down, Beech Grove Tire. And for police info service, Runner flat.
Rear flat.
$502.68.
Mark, would you like to?
That, the flat is for another vehicle, and he had 4 new tires. So it's not.
Flat tire, I've never had a flat.
That's a pretty expensive spare, isn't it?
4
It
new
should be
tires.
1 flat tire and 4 new tires. The flat wasn't good with somebody else's.
Thank you. And directly under that, Boyce Forms Systems, the amount of $429.
That was for some type of records out to community center. Their invoices they use, they're numbered invoices for like rentals. I don't know what all they use them for, but that's what that was for.
Thank you. And one more, almost to the middle of the page, Hartman Janitorial, $2,000 for trash can liners.
That would be Tom.
A whole pallet, and Tom and I split the cost, so we've probably got trash can liners for the next, year or two. But she had, quoted us a price on those at 45 cents. It's the same bags that he uses in the park, and then we use them on Main Street. And we got her down to like 25 cents, but only if we bought them in bulk, and we had some money, so it saved us a lot to buy them like that.
Thank you. I have one more, page 2.
Mm-hmm.
Almost to the bottom, Keystone Software.
That is our licensing fee for the year 2014. We actually have 3 different licenses of Keystone Software we use, which is Key Assets, Key Fund, and Key Utility. Utilities for our sewer department, the other 2. One of them's what we use in the clerk treasurer's office on a daily basis. The assets is actually an inventory system that we have been paying for years, and no one knew we were until this bill came. And so it's really a fairly good deal and a good way to do our
Is
inventory.
that for the upcoming year, 2014?
2014,
Okay.
correct. This is a yearly license fee with Keystone
Okay.
on all their programs. There should be another one in there for $275 where they will actually store all of our information off-site, and that's done on a yearly basis too, which the mayor and I had spoke, and we thought for $275 it was a good investment.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
I have none.
I want to point out one item on page 1. About halfway down the page, there's a payment made to the Indianapolis Police Foundation from the 2012 bond. The amount was $2,741. Those were for 35 trauma kits for the police department. And they will, when they come in, trauma kit will be placed in each police car. It is for personal protection for the police officer. So that is the second investment we've made in the past 2 weeks. We've did a hose purchase after you folks approved it, which was a personal safety issue for people and the fire department. Now this is a much-needed investment, so pretty happy about that. Chief, I don't know when they'll come in, but
Supposed to be in this week, and either SWAT medics will train us or people from the company will train us. That hasn't been, don't know which one will train us or both.
okay.
Just for clarification, Mark, that's actually not just for police safety, that's for any citizen out there too that, am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
So, any further questions?
I have none.
sir.
If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve the corporate claims dated December 2nd, 2013, in the amount of $1,163,387.27.
I'll make said motion.
And I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I also vote aye, and the motion carries. There is no unfinished business carried over from the previous meeting. Under new business, we have a rate study from a representative of Crow Horvath for concerning stormwater. And the gentleman here is Mike Harmless. Mike, could you come up, please, on behalf of Crow and walk us through this briefly, please?
Okay, very briefly. Well, I'm Mike Harmless. I've met you all before. Crow Horwath is the largest accounting consulting firm in the state of Indiana. Our office is in the Market Tower building in downtown Indianapolis, so 8 miles away. I was the mayor of Greencastle, still live in Greencastle, but there are a lot of connections in this community to Greencastle. Right, Craig? Yeah. Yeah, everybody knows that. So, well, a stormwater rate study is a very important part of the study that needs to be done in order to come up with the engineering firm, which is MD Wessler, will certainly be coming up with all of the issues that they think need to be addressed, potential projects, et cetera. Then you couple that with a financial advisory firm like Crow to then incorporate that to develop a rate structure that is fair and consistent to the citizens. So I know John Scomp was here, attended the first working group meeting. John's terrific. He lives down in the Center Grove area, and he's the head of our utility practice and has done many of these rate studies. So we're very excited for the opportunity and just want to thank you for the opportunity to work with you, Mayor.
Mike, the city's had a stormwater utility since 2006, when we separated from Marion County, but they never took it the next step. And we are one of only a handful of cities in the entire state of Indiana that does not have a stormwater utility.
Correct.
You were mayor, I mean, how relevant is it that we do this?
Well, you know, as we heard earlier, you have a sanitary sewer utility, and that utility is supported by rates and a rate structure to make sure that you treat that sewage properly. In this particular case, you've got storm drains that need a source of revenue in order to maintain them properly. So I think the infrastructure discussion needs to be addressed, but because it's a utility, it needs a rate structure in place to support the repairs and maintenance and improvements that are necessary. So you're doing absolutely the right thing.
The clerk and I, we talk about this all the time, and people call in because they have drainage problems. And I think we did 3 or 4 drainage projects this year. You have to rob from Peter to pay Paul.
Correct.
And, okay, we're going to do this. Well, then this area gets slighted, and we had to adjust our rates for the sanitary sewer because we weren't doing any projects and nothing was getting done. And the city, after a while, the system's going to fail. Well, it's never going to quit raining, and we're always going to have drainage problems until we decide we're going to correct them. Whether it's me as mayor or whoever is mayor, you got to have the revenue to invest in these projects, and we have 30, 40 documented projects that we need to complete.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing to pay for.
Absolutely. No, I think, this is absolutely the right thing to do, to put in a rate structure that's going to support maintenance and repairs and improvements to a stormwater collection system that you currently have. So, and as was stated here earlier, I mean, you do not want to allow cross connections into your sanitary sewer where now you're treating clear water, treating rainwater. That is not a good decision for the long term. So this should put, with a really good engineering plan that will be put forward, and then a really strong rate structure that will be put forward, should put the city on the right track to be able to invest in your infrastructure, which you need to do. If you just put it off, last time I checked, everything gets more expensive every year. So if you put it off to the future, then things are just going to cost more. So it's better to be conservative, put a rate structure in place now that addresses it, and I think you're being very wise.
And it's one of the first things I had to do when I was mayor was the sanitary. I didn't want to do it. Nobody wanted to do it. But we had to do it. We had no choice. If we didn't do it, we were going to fail. Well, we're not going to fail if we don't do this. But to me, this is the right thing to do. And it's a tough call, and I don't mind facing it head on, because 10 years from now, we'll be glad we did it. Because
Absolutely.
things are finally going to be getting fixed. So I don't know, I'll open it up for the board. They have questions or comments, because these are tough decisions.
And they are. My only question would be, for people who's watching this, another bill,
Yeah.
another rate increase. What are we talking about for someone who has to watch their income? Are we talking a few dollars, or are we talking $20?
Well, and I think this is
It
where.
might be a little bit too early to answer.
Yeah,
that
I think it's probably a little too early to do that. I think we need to get, when I was mayor, I'd always look at the engineering study and look at the list of projects and determine, how important those projects were to people in their neighborhoods. I think in this case, if you've got any areas where the stormwater is not being collected properly and it's backing up in people's yards, and I'm sure there are those places in Beech Grove. We had them all over in Greencastle. And we began one by one to take care of that. And we had to do it through our sanitary sewer because back when I was mayor, a long time ago, they didn't have stormwater utilities yet. This is the right answer. That way people will know what they're paying for with that rate. And the rate study is very structured and very complicated. We'll present that to the mayor and clerk treasurer and to the board, obviously, and the council. And John Scomp will do a wonderful job explaining where all those numbers have come from. So I think this is absolutely the right thing to do, though.
Sandy, I can add to it, sitting on the committee with all, that was a main priority that we talked about, and along with the mayor. The mayor, gave us insight. Being a citizen and a retiree myself, I don't need another increase. Mine don't go up. But we're going to have it on a tier basis, slowly go in. We're not going to dump a major increase right at first. It's going to be slow. We went this long without it. We can go a little bit more, but start collecting the money for these repairs. So for the citizens that's watching this, we are trying to hold it down as best we can, and I think you'll be pleased when it does come out.
Well, and previously, this was being charged on your property taxes
Yeah.
in previous years. And then it
Prior
was,
to 2006.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
so it's something that was being charged at one time and no longer is.
And Mike, could you go through the last page for us as far as the cost of this rate study?
Well, the last page, basically the rate analysis, which will be taking all of the information that the engineering firm comes up with, all the projects, all of the calculations, all of the information that they gather, then they're going to hand it to the financial advisor to really dig into detail to make sure that the rate structure that we come up with is consistent and is fair and meets the requirements necessary. That analysis, we estimate, will cost between $12,000 and $15,000. And we like to always give a range on that. We had a really good discussion with MD Wessler to see if they felt that they thought that was in a range they thought was acceptable, and they did. And then the other, the hourly rates would be for meetings and so on that we would attend. And so, but again, those will be limited to just the meetings where we attend. So I feel really comfortable with this fee, and I think the engineering firm validated that for me.
So, questions from board members?
I have a question. Under the fees, fees for professional services as rate consultants are phase one rate analysis, $12,000 to $15,000 per what is that, per project, per week, per month, hour?
No, this would be for this entire study.
Okay.
So this is what we, again, visiting with the engineers, so doing the entire rate study and coming up with the rate structure, working with the working groups. I think that that's for the whole, for the entire project. Then the only thing that we don't know is how many meetings you're going to have, so we always break that out separately.
Okay.
And so those will be at cost,
Okay, thank you.
okay?
Any other questions or comments?
Yes, sir.
If there's not any questions or comments, I'll ask for a motion to approve the agreement with Crow Horwath not to exceed $15,000.
I'll make said motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I also vote aye, and the motion carries.
Okay. And then the only, I don't think it's going to go over that, but if the rate analysis would go up closer to the 15, then we'd have the meetings over and above that. I just want to make sure that that's clear. But we would come back to you.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
We look forward to this, and I think it's a tough call, but you know what? We're going to move forward and address another longstanding issue that should have been dealt with back in 2006.
Well, I think I congratulate you on making this decision because, you know, I think that the community elected mayors and clerk treasurers to lead the community and surround themselves with a great team. And so you're doing that.
Yeah. All right,
Thank you,
Mike,
Mayor.
good to see you
Thank
as always.
Great to see you all, and thanks for the opportunity.
All right.
Thank you.
So I think I'll head west to Greencastle if that's okay.
Have a nice holiday.
Absolutely. I'll
right.
be back soon.
All right.
See y'all.
Thank you. All right. Next on the new business is Keystone Agreement, and I'll defer to the clerk for consultation. Dan?
Okay, this is a Keystone Disaster Recovery Agreement. And instead of reading the entire agreement, I think there's, under number 3, the Disaster Recovery Plan. There's 3 main things. They do annual record storage, they do off-site storage, and they do backup support on your site. So in other words, this thing is a cost to the city for $275. If the building burnt to the ground, we would have everything in their safe at that particular time as far as all of our storage. They would give us an office at their location with computer, everything on it for up to 30 days while we interact, and so we can do normal business. What we do is we will send them a flash drive or CD-ROM. We can do it on a monthly basis, a quarterly, or a yearly basis. But for $275, the mayor and I both discussed this. We thought it was a good call, just for the simple reason you never know what's going to happen. Without this information, we would be pretty much shut down. So we think it's just a no-brainer. And if you got any questions on it, I'll go a little further into it.
Well, I do have a
Okay.
question. Because you were just saying, and I'm not computer savvy here. So this is not going through the internet or anything like that. You have to make the disc and then mail them to them. Well, if we have a fire before we mail it to them.
Well, every night, either myself or someone in my office takes a backup home with them.
Okay.
And
Goes off-site.
one is locked up in our safe here, but a safe is not fireproof. The heat will melt it or whatever. So that's the reason why right now we kind of do this, but this is a little bit better system. They do our year ends, which to go back and redo a year end, I mean, it can take 6 to 8 weeks to actually do a year end. We're already doing that right now. So just depending on how quickly we get it done, since the 2 years I've been here, the first year it was February 26th, I think, when we got done. Last year was January the 8th, so you can see how much work it actually is. So just to have that, you know, in a place that's safe. Keystone is our supplier right now on all of our data information. So we transport this stuff daily with them. We do backups. So I hope that answered your question.
It does.
Or have some kind of contingency plan, so.
There's nothing worse than walking in here and, I mean, just during our lightning strike,
Yeah.
I mean, we were at everybody's mercy. We was lucky we got that taken care of the way we did. I mean, we had people in here Saturdays, Sundays, late in the evenings, just to try to get that thing. So you can imagine what it'd be like if a tornado came through or a fire. This way here, all the employees get paid. You know, you don't have to worry about that because everything is right there.
All right, with that, a motion to approve the agreement between Keystone and the City of Beech Grove pursuant to disaster recovery.
I'll make said motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. That concludes new business this evening. Comments from board members?
I do have a comment. I'd like to comment on the holiday decorations on Main Street and here at City Hall. Thanks for those who are responsible for it. It really looks like a nice hometown feeling, and it just really looks great. So thanks for everyone who was able to purchase those, to get them hung up. So it looks really, really nice. It's nice to see Main Street back.
And I agree also. They look great. And thanks for everyone coming out this evening.
No other comments? Ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make said motion.
I'll second.
Meeting is adjourned at 6:42 PM. We will meet again on Monday, December the 16th, 6 PM in these chambers. We'll be adjourned. The city council meeting is tonight at 7 PM. Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the third and final meeting tonight. My name is Dennis Buckley, Mayor of the City of Beech Grove, and at this time we will convene our city council meeting for Monday, December the 2nd. In lieu of a roll call, I will ask each council member to introduce himself, beginning on my left.
Dave Mobley, City Councilman at Large.
Dave Harrison, District 5.
Dan McMillan, Clerk Treasurer.
Craig Wiley, City Attorney.
Anthony Davidson, District 3.
Ed Bell, District 2.
Mary Huser Stewart, District 1.
Kathy Coates, Council at Large.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, everyone. We have a special presentation to begin the meeting tonight, so I would ask the middle school girls cross-country team if they would come up and stand behind the podium, please. And Mr. Peak. Mr. Peak is the athletic director at the Beech Grove Middle School, and this group of athletes did something that was absolutely astonishing, and we're going to recognize them tonight. So, Mr. Peak, if you could come up and give us just a brief summary of their season.
Well, to be honest, Mr. Buckley, I'm going to let the head coach, because she deserves all of the credit. I'm just kind of the guy there standing in the wings, just hoping that everything goes right. So I want to bring up head coach Wendy Eckstein.
So great group of young ladies. Returning from last year, we were second in the county, and so we had high hopes for this year. We were shooting for top 3, and if one happened, that was great. So I'll just give you some of the highlights. We started out with the Whiteland Invitational, where we won. That was our closest competition of the year. We then went on to win the Beech Grove Invite and the conference meet, and the highlight of the season was when we won the Marion County meet, which has never been done for the middle school team. So these girls had a season of 60-0, great group. We're losing 4 of our top 7, but we're excited to say we have several returning. So great group. Congratulations, ladies.
60-0, not only did they win the county, they won their conference. So this is astonishing. And tonight, the city would like to recognize this group. And I'll read with Counselor Coates. Congratulations to the Beech Grove Middle School Girls Cross Country Team, 2013 conference champions, 60-0 record, presented the second day of December 2013. Congratulations. Any of you parents want to come up for pictures? We'll do it very briefly. All right, congratulations, ladies, on an excellent season. I don't know about the rest of you, but I couldn't run across the room, let alone a cross-country meet. So have a nice holiday season. Thank you, Council. Before you tonight, you have the minutes from the previous meeting dated November the 4th, 2013. The floor is open for questions or comments or corrections. If there's not any corrections, comments, or issues, I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes dated November the 4th, 2013 as presented.
I'll make said motion, sir.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. Petitions or comments by citizens. No one has signed up to speak this evening. We'll move on to committee reports. The first report is Greenscape. Tim?
Good evening. Tim Latimer, Beech Grove Greenscape Commission. I really don't have a whole lot to report. We did meet Monday, November 18th, our last meeting. Aside from talking about some of the trees that need to be addressed, issues with street trees that we always submit to Brad Merriweather, we got into talking about America in Bloom. The America in Bloom program offers numerous grant opportunities and community gardens and just a whole plethora of stuff that we might be interested in. So we all took a couple of pages. Brenda Wilson, one of our members, printed off several pages of information. So we're all taking it and we're breaking it down to see, what might be out there that could be helpful to Beech Grove community. For example, tonight I was, before I came here, I was looking at a site from Burpees, B-U-R-P-E-E-S, and it's about how to start a community garden. Now, I'm not sure that's something that we want to do, but nevertheless, these are some of the things that we're just kind of looking into to see, what's out there and Is there something that might be right for Beech Grove? So we'll get back to you on that, let you know what we find. Let's see. Our recertification application is almost finished. That is due on the 31st of this month, so we'll be sending that out here in another couple of weeks or so probably. And I guess that's it. We will not meet in December. Our next meeting will be, excuse me, January 21st, which is on a Tuesday, and it will be at the Hornet Park. January 21st, that will be our next meeting on a Tuesday. And that's all I have for you. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, Tim. Didn't pertain to what you just said, but I keep on getting the question, what type of trees have been planted out on Main Street?
Most of those are honey locusts. Gosh, I can't remember now.
I took the tags off the ones in front of my house that said red oak on it. It had some Latin, some, of course. It did say red oak.
Yeah, some small red oaks. Let's see.
The
honey
tag said,
locust.
"Do not remove."
You know what? I'll have to get back to you. I'm sure I've got that written down somewhere. I just don't have it with me. I'll send you an email with those. Okay? All right. Anything else? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
All right.
Thank you, Tim.
RDC.
How you doing, folks? Joe Griffin, currently president of the RDC. Hope you all had a good Thanksgiving. I'm going to do a couple things here first. It's going to seem kind of stupid, but you'll catch the drift here in a minute. The partnership that the RDC and the clerk treasurer have been doing, the rough draft is we'll do our part to achieve that one vision that has been formed by the citizens and businesses of Beech Grove for the betterment of Beech Grove. We will have passionate talks, share our views, and all work shall be open and honest. We shall work in a lawful and ethical manner in public view. It takes all partners working together equally to achieve that one vision. Also, factoids. This is one that's been bounced around all over the place. Factoid is a new catchphrase that's going around. I got the definition of it. It sounds like a fact. It should be a fact, when in fact, it's not a fact. So there's a lot of factoids going around, especially when it comes different visions and different groups and all that other stuff around town. We didn't have a meeting this last time. We had a lack of quorum. We had 4 people. We had 2 commissioners and two guests, one of which was President Pro Tem Ed Bell. So we couldn't really get anything done, and we'll put it off on that, and hopefully we'll get some stuff done later. One of the reasons why I brought that up is because of this letter I received, dated November 13th. Dear Joe, the city of Indianapolis is preparing to embark on an unprecedented and intense planning effort in 2014 that will see the integrated update of Marion County Comprehensive Land Use Plan, the Marion County Thoroughfare Plan, the Regional Plan, the HUD Consolidation Plan, and the new Economic Community Plan Development Strategy. For the first time, this suite of plans will be strategically reinforced one another as a development effort to coordinate all policies and planning and the implementations. They're going to be kicking this off down at the old City Hall. Perhaps more importantly, to the endeavor also provides the opportunity to have a broader conversation about planning in the 21st century. Our organizations on a daily basis make decisions that impact each other. The issues, the opportunities, the fundings, the realities confronting our communities do not respect organizational or political boundaries. We must respond accordingly. I firmly believe that the success of any one of our organizations is dependent on the success of all of them. The old model of centralization urban planning has changed, but I do not believe we have yet developed an adequate replacement that reflects our decentralized modern reality. We want to understand what the new model is and what will be for our city's future and the need to help yours in this journey. To that end, I am assembling a Marion County Planning Consortium representing the core organizations in Marion County that do substantial planning, whether they are public, nonprofit, or private sectors partners. The consortium will be an ad hoc group that seeks first and foremost to share what all of us are doing and reinforce a culture of information and collaboration. I believe this will help us all maximize the impact and investments we can make and produce a new, fruitful partnership that will help us all work smarter together. That's why I started off with our partnership. That's why I started off with factoids. This is a very intense thing. This is something that Beech Grove can really get a hold of, and really they should be glad that they're going to be involved in. This is extremely important. Whoever you pick tonight or whatever you pick tonight to go forward on this, the city has to come together, period. And once they go to this, they best have one centralized plan and one development. So all groups have to get together. Because the first thing they're going to ask for is a statement from whoever the president of the RDC is about each and every one of those plans and where our city stands. And you can't factoid these people. They know. They can tell. Whoever goes in this place, one of the things that's going to come up is why is Beech Grove's circuit breaker 39%? It's stuff like that that's going to have to be talked about. It's stuff like that that's going to sit up there and take place. What is our thoroughfare plans? What's going to happen in our thoroughfare plans? Where do we stand in our thoroughfare plans? What is our community involvement? What are our plans? Where do we stand as a community? Let's stop being splintered. We got to come together because all groups need to get together before this even happens, because there's a lot of work ahead before this thing kicks off that we all have to get together. Otherwise, we're going to be fools and left out. Everything has to come together. And to that extent, any questions?
Joe, I'm trying to understand all that. But a question I have is the greenway we were talking about, and at one point in time there was discussion about how that would at some point tie into the whatever it's called, Monon. Is that part of what you're talking about?
That would be part of, but the Greenway part is dead, and there's no way that the Greenway in any shape or form would ever tie into the Monon since it's several miles away. What they had at that particular time is that one time they had Beech Grove going south, and they would eventually connect through Southport down into Greenwood, tie into that path, and then they were looking for several ones going across. Right now they do have a path that's running across America on a Greenway conversion. This last one I didn't get to see the plans, but I heard that they changed it all around, and what was going to happen was it was actually running back behind Park Grove, and it was actually going to tie into the Indianapolis area along the White River in some sort of way. Basically what it was going to do is tie into a sidewalk that ties into this, that ties into that ties into that one that you can ride your bike along or walk across down the White River is how that final plan was coming up. But that was still all up in the air and everything else. So
If our greenway's gone, then none of that's going to happen.
correct.
There's no connection whatsoever.
Correct.
Then give me an example of what that might include.
This is going to include all our thoroughfares, because this is where all the thoroughfares are going to come into. This is where you go and get all your money from for your streets, inner things, your sewers, your curbs. This is going to take in the economic development plan that they're going to do. Now, government doesn't do everything always straight, and as you folks know, I'll tell you that. But this is one smart plan that they actually got together, and they're going to bring Marion County all together as one. Because what happens is Indiana has 94 counties. Out of that 94 counties, only about 20-some make money. And the strongest group of them is here around Indiana, Marion County. So they got together a long time ago under Mayor Wiley, and they decided to all go together and make one plan to where we're not fighting against each other. Since then, that plan's kind of fell apart. And since the 2008 1001 bill, what we do directly affects everybody, and what everybody does directly affects everybody. So our 39% circuit breaker affects everybody in Marion County now. They feel that punch, and they're wondering, especially when Marion County is 14%, why are we that much higher? So it affects everything in the development of Beech Grove on the way it talks and discusses. They used to do them all separate. This is one time where government's actually doing something correct, I feel. They're all coming together, and they're all going to work together. They're bringing everybody in together. Remember back when we did when the comprehensive plan was put together by Joe Wright, all those meetings and everything else that they had? This is essentially that, and it's taking in everything. And this is where we're going to get the chance to put our 2 cents forward. But you better be right on with these guys, because if you try to factoid them, you're going to be in trouble. This is one good thing that can either really, really help Beech Grove or really, really leave us behind. This is something that's really, really important. And this is something the government is actually doing that's quite smart, because they're bringing all the plans together, all the major plans together, and going to form one with one outlook and bring everybody together to enhance that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just trying to make sure that it's not stuck in Beech Grove. That Beech Grove's still going to be Beech Grove.
Well, see, if you look at TIFs, what they say is when you do it, if you've seen one TIF deal, you've seen one TIF deal. If you want a little example of what was going on with Indianapolis and that group, Greenwood got rated as one of the top 5 communities in the United States to live in, one of the top 5. Guess what? They're in this plan. We have say-so on what goes on the thoroughfares and that inner stuff. We can have some say-so in what goes on in Carmel. There's documentation on that.
Is everyone equally rated?
For the most part, yeah, it's as equal as you can get. Indianapolis has a few more than everybody else, but you can outvote Indianapolis too. I mean, there's 40-some cities on that particular plan. So Indianapolis is carrying a little bit more weight, but they can be outvoted. But, you know, you're getting back behind them, and Indianapolis helped Greenwood. Indianapolis, Avon, or I can't remember if it was Avon or Fishers, was in the top 10 too, and they're part of some of these plans and everything else, and they're going to bring them all together. Try to form that oneness, that partnership, because with all of us going for that same barrel, we are now pulling out the same money. So what's true is we all need to work together for that one vision, because it's going to help all of us. Trust me, they don't want to see Beech Grove be a ghetto. No. They want to see it improve and then bring out ways in which we can do it. But they also want to hear from your system.
I want us to have. I don't want. Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, if you look at why they say if you look at one TIF deal, you have one TIF deal, even though you have the same guidelines and you get the public involved, you look around what TIF's been doing, no two are the same. They might steal a little piece here, take a little piece there, borrow a little piece here, and add some of your own. They don't want you to all be the same. They want you to develop your own personalities and come up there, but they all have the same process and stuff. And it's not going to be any good to anybody if we're all the same.
Okay.
We've got to be respectful, and we've got to come up in some things, and this is our chance to really step forward. Okay. This is our chance to step forward, and it's really important too.
Thank you.
Anything else?
All right. All right. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Public Safety Committee did not meet, and there's no ABC report this evening. We go to financial report. Dan?
Dear Councilors, I have enclosed the preliminary statement I received from the Indiana Bond Bank. As you can see, the anticipated amount for the general fund is approximately $267,000 less. However, they are anticipating that funding will fall short in police and fire pensions. So those two funds will add an additional $275,000. This is preliminary. We also got our 1782 notice, and everything looked good on it. I had Jeff Peters review it, and he agreed. So I signed that and sent it in. This month will be a very busy month preparing for year end and rolling over into 2014. Dental, health, vision, and liability insurances have all been finalized. Both the city and the employees will see an increase in premiums. We did have an insurance committee that worked on this, and I would like to thank them for their time and work. Aaron Janetti for the fire department, James Bond for the police department, Rodney Giffen for DPW, former clerk treasurer Chris Duffer, and myself. I will be transferring the pilot payment in lieu of taxes payment from sewage to corporation per the 2013 budget. That amount will be in the amount of $142,196. The city website continues to be successful and is provided at no cost to the taxpayers. Thank you to the wonderful volunteers. Please, if you have any community events that you would like posted, email those to me at dan.mcmillan@beechgrove.com. We try to get those posted the same day. Financial reports, city debt schedules, bank statements, or more are available online. And each of the council people have the bank balances for our bank accounts. And then the only other thing I have is the transfers, if you want to do them now, or,
We'll do them under new business.
okay.
All right. Questions for the clerk? If not, we'll move on. Mayor's liaison report. I met the new liaison for Mayor Ballard, and she's aware that we meet the first Monday of each month, and I was hoping she would be here tonight to introduce herself. So we'll try and get a hold of her for the next meeting for the council. Move to unfinished business carried over from the previous meeting. General Ordinance number 15, 2013 is up for second reading only. I'll ask at this time the clerk to read the ordinance into the record, please.
General Ordinance number 15, 2013 is an ordinance that amends Chapter 72 of the City of Beech Grove Code of Ordinances. Chapter 72 pursuant to parking privileges for physically handicapped persons concerning private business property, local government buildings, schools, and/or shopping centers. Whereas negotiating for parking can be made much harder should a person have a disability, and whereas accommodations should be made to assist persons with disabilities park relatively close to the entrance of a building, and whereas persons who do not have disabilities should refrain from parking in properly marked disabled spaces, and whereas the Common Council desires to enforce parking restrictions pursuant to persons with disabilities. Now therefore be it ordained that the Common Council desires to have local law enforcement enforce regulations pursuant to disabled parking. Now therefore be it further ordained that the Common Council of the City of Beech Grove desires that the following section be added to Chapter 72 of the City of Beech Grove Code of Ordinances. Section 72.08, parking privileges for physically handicapped persons. A, as used in this section, physically handicapped person means, 1, any person who has been issued a parking permit for physically handicapped individuals pursuant to IC 9-14-5. Number 2, any person who has been issued a handicapped person license plate or decal pursuant to IC 9-18-11. Or, number 3, any person who has been issued a disabled veteran license plate pursuant to IC 9-18-18. B, as used in this section, private business property and shopping center mean privately owned real property on which the public is invited to travel for business purposes. C, the director of the Department of Public Works shall mark parking spaces on public streets for the exclusive use of physically handicapped persons 7 days per week, 24 hours per day. D, the owner or manager of a shopping center or private business property may reserve parking spaces within such shopping center or private business property for the exclusive use of physically handicapped persons at all times at shopping center or private business property open to the public. E, physically handicapped persons who park at such designated spaces shall display on their vehicle either a parking permit issued pursuant to IC 9-14-5, a handicapped person license plate issued pursuant to IC 9-18-22, or a disabled veteran license plate issued pursuant to IC 9-18-18. Failure to display such placard or plate shall be a violation of this section and shall subject the owner, operator, or operator of the vehicle to the penalties provided for violations of this chapter. F, physically handicapped persons who park at designated spaces shall be subject to all restrictions and requirements applicable to such space, including time restrictions and other restrictions imposed by the property owner or management. Now therefore be it ordained that the Common Council desires that this amendment be included in Chapter 72 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Beech Grove. Now therefore be it further ordained that this amendment only applies to Chapter 72 and no other chapter. Now therefore be it further ordained that this ordinance shall come into effect 60 days after passage by the Common Council, signed by the Council President, attested by the Clerk Treasurer, and signed by the Mayor.
Thank you, Clerk. Motion to approve General Ordinance number 15, 2013 on second reading only.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. This will be heard on third reading at the next council meeting. General Ordinance number 16, 2013 is up for second reading only. I'll go ahead and read this one, Dan. General Ordinance number 16, 2013 is an ordinance that amends Chapter 70 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Beech Grove, addressing traffic patterns around entrances to fire stations. Whereas the City of Beech Grove has 2 fire stations centrally located to provide fire and EMS protection for the citizens of Beech Grove, and whereas both fire stations are located on heavily traveled roadways, and whereas traffic sometimes has to come to a stop as ambulances and fire engines leave the station on emergency responses, and whereas signs have been installed clearly identifying fire station zones on both Churchman Avenue and Albany Street. Therefore be it ordained that the Common Council desires to minimize the chance of accidents caused by emergency vehicles responding to calls for assistance by establishing emergency zones at each fire station. Therefore be it further ordained that the Common Council desires the following amendment be added to Chapter 70 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Beech Grove. Section 70.37, Fire Station Emergency Zone. A, there are hereby created and designated areas defined as established as fire station emergency zones, which are defined as a portion of any public way used as a street, road, boulevard, parkway, highway, or alley which is located contiguous to any fire station where emergency vehicles are garaged and extends for a distance of 300 feet along all streets, roads, boulevards, parkways, highways, or alleys in all directions from the traffic entrance used by emergency vehicles to enter such public way. B, no person shall drive a motor vehicle on any street, road, boulevard, parkway, highway, or alley within the fire station emergency zone established pursuant to subsection A at a speed greater than that which would allow such person to stop safely to avoid emergency vehicles. C, the Director of the Department of Public Works shall post reasonable and adequate signs indicating the existence of each fire station emergency zone, their point of commencement and point of termination. Such signs shall warn of the danger of emergency vehicles entering the public way and the requirement of caution and reduced speed in such zones. Now therefore be it ordained that the Common Council desires to amend Chapter 70 of the Code of Ordinances as such. Now, therefore, be it further ordained that this ordinance only applies to Chapter 72 and no other chapter. Now, therefore, be it further ordained that this ordinance shall go into effect 60 days after passage by the Common Council, signed by the Council President, tested by the Clerk Treasurer, and signed by the Mayor. Motion to approve General Ordinance number 16, 2013 on second reading only.
I'll make said motion.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
In one section, it says Chapter 70, the other 72, is that correct?
No, it needs to be Chapter 70, but you don't have to amend it because it's not part of the ordinance that's into effect.
It's just the,
It's standard language.
okay, but it will be,
Yes.
okay, thank you. A second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. This will be heard on third reading at the next meeting. General Ordinance number 17, 2013 is up for second reading only. This time I'll defer to the clerk to read the ordinance in its entirety, please.
General Ordinance Number 17, 2013 is an ordinance that amends Chapter 72 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Beech Grove pursuant to fire lane parking for public buildings. Whereas, from time to time, the Beech Grove Fire Department is called to respond to a reported emergency in a public building, and whereas, depending on the emergency, time may be of essence and clear access to the building becomes vital. And whereas private vehicle parking in these areas could cause delays and other problems which may hamper emergency operations. And whereas persons who oversee public buildings should assist our emergency services whenever possible to maintain open access in front of buildings. Now be it ordained that the Common Council desires to amend Chapter 72 of the Code of Ordinances to assist the Beech Grove Fire Department and the other fire departments who may have cause to respond to a reported emergency in a public building. Now therefore be it further ordained that the Common Council desires that this amendment be placed in the Code of Ordinances for the City of Beech Grove. Section 72.24, Observance of Fire Lanes. A, it shall be unlawful for the owner, driver, or operator of any vehicle to park or stop such vehicle or to permit such vehicle to be parked or to stand at any time, or to place any other personal property upon or in any fire lane. Any vehicle or other personal property found to be obstructing a fire lane shall be cited by any law enforcement officer with jurisdiction. B, in addition, any vehicle or other personal property may be towed upon the request of any law enforcement or fire prevention bureau personnel that have jurisdiction. The owner of the vehicle's personal property shall be liable for all tow-in and resulting storage charges. C, the Fire Prevention Bureau or the fire department shall, to the greatest extent feasible, inspect the area surrounding all public buildings, and the fire prevention chief shall determine and establish the emergency vehicle lanes and notify the property owners affected thereby in writing. D, fire lanes shall be established and marked as follows. 1. Fire lanes shall be 12 feet from the sidewalk, driveway, service area, or areas immediately adjacent to any building or structure deemed necessary by the fire prevention chief. 2. Where acceptable, the pavement of the fire emergency lane shall be marked with the words "No Parking Fire Lane" in large visible letters and stripe of no less than 4 inches in width and installed 12 feet from the sidewalk, curb, or other items adjacent to the building in question. The words "No Parking Fire Lane" shall be between the stripes and the sidewalk, curb, or other item adjacent to the building. 3. All curb, striping, and language required on pavement shall be marked in yellow coloration with paint or other types of substances that may be approved by the Chief of the Fire Prevention Bureau. And 4. Signs stating "No Parking Fire Lane" meeting the Indiana Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices shall be installed no less than every 30 feet apart. E. The fire prevention chief may, in designated fire lanes, determine that portions of those lanes, because of the location of hydrants, standpipes, or other fire prevention devices, or because of the necessities for ingress and egress, that any blockage constitutes a fire hazard. Areas so determined shall be designated tow-away zones and shall be so marked and posted. Any vehicle parked in such zones shall be removed at the direction of any fire official or police officer. Now be it ordained that the Common Council desires this amendment to be included in the Code of Ordinances for the City of Beech Grove. Now therefore be it further ordained that this ordinance only pertains to the amendment of Chapter 72 of the Code of Ordinances. Now therefore be it further ordained that this ordinance shall go into effect 60 days after passage by the Common Council, signed by the council president, attested by the clerk treasurer, and signed by the mayor.
Thank you, Dan. General ordinances number 17, 2003, need a recommendation for approval on second reading only.
I'll make said motion, sir. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. Will be heard on third reading at the next council meeting. Last order of unfinished business is General Ordinance number 22, 2013. It's up for second reading, and I'll ask the council to waive the rules so that we can read this by title only.
Oh, yeah.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. I'll defer to the clerk to read the ordinance by title only.
Ordinance number 22, 2013, an ordinance authorizing the city of Beech Grove, Indiana to make temporary loans to meet current running expenses for the use of the general fund, the debt service fund, the police pension fund, and the fire pension fund of the issuer in anticipation of and not in excess of current taxes levied in the year 2013 and collectible in the year 2014. Authorizing this issuance of temporary loan tax anticipation warrants to evidence such loans and the sale of such warrants to the Indiana Bond Bank, and appropriating and pledging the taxes to be received in such funds to the punctual payment of such warrants, including the interest thereon.
Thank you, Dan. Council, in your packet, you should have had a copy of the bond bank warrant sizing analysis. You should have received that. That was just for your information. Having done that, I'll ask for a motion to approve General Ordinance Number 22, 2013 on second reading only.
I'll make said motion.
Second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign.
Aye.
Passes. General Ordinance Number 22, 2013 is up for third and final reading. I'll ask for a motion to waive the rules to read by title only.
I'll make said motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. I'll defer to clerk to read the ordinance by title only, please.
Ordinance number 22, 2013, an ordinance authorizing the city of Beech Grove, Indiana to make temporary loans to meet current running expenses for the use of the general fund, the debt service fund, the police pension fund, and the fire pension fund of the issuer in anticipation of and not in excess of current taxes levied in the year 2013 and collectible in the year 2014. Authorizing the issuance of temporary loan tax anticipation warrants to evidence such loans and the sale of such warrants to the Indiana Bond Bank, and appropriating and pledging the taxes to be received in such funds to the punctual payment of such warrants, including the interest thereon.
Thank you, Dan. Ordinance number 22, 2013 is up for third and final reading. I'll ask for a motion to approve.
I'll make said motion, sir.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign.
Aye.
Please sign and register your vote. Under new business, council, we have a clerk employee resignation. I'll defer to the clerk for consultation. Dan?
Dear councilors, due to a resignation of a full-time clerk, I am requesting to move Debbie Springer from part-time clerk to full-time deputy assistant clerk. I am also requesting to hire another part-time clerk. Both positions are funded in the budget.
Floor is open for comments or questions.
Dan, I just have a question. Do you know why the full-time clerk wasn't advertised?
No. It's at my discretion. She serves at my pleasure. And right at the present time, I've got payrolls and everything else that has to be done and met, and she's the only one that can get into the Keystone program other than myself. And to fulfill that position, that's the reasoning.
Well, the outgoing clerk, first, I don't have a resignation letter from the outgoing clerk. I know you just gave it to me right now, but I appreciate it before the meeting. But I don't have since I don't have an outgoing letter from her, I have no idea what she resigned for, and also the full-time clerk position to me should be, it's something that should be advertised, and I remember Brenda as an accountant, and I don't know if that's an actual requirement for, under the job description.
No, it is not.
Okay, but, I don't know. It's just my opinion that I think it should be advertised before anything is done, so I will not be voting in favor of this.
As far as her resignation letter, that falls under personnel, and I will not release that information. That was her choice. I did nothing that I forced on her. But I'd just like to read something. I want you to know I am doing this because I want all of us to be on the same page, and I would like to have the council's approval. However, I have spoken to Charlie Pride at State Board of Accounts to confirm that the council approval is not necessary on whom I hire. If it is approved in the salary ordinance, then it is at my discretion who I appoint as clerks, but out of respect for the council and the office which I hold, I have always tried and will continue to try to make transparency a priority. So that is why I brought it before this legislative body. Ultimately, I will do what I believe to be the best for the office of the clerk treasurer. And in speaking to Charlie Pride, he told me, I don't even have to bring this to you guys. That is at my discretion, and he told me, quite frankly, it's none of your business.
Okay, well then stop wasting our time with it, because this,
Well,
this,
I
is
don't
a,
think-
this is a complete joke.
It might be a joke to you, Anthony, but I like for everybody to be on the same
Well,
page.
You just insulted us by saying that you don't even need our permission to hire who you want. Well, then why is it even brought here? It's
Anthony,
wasting
I
our
brought
time. Let's move on.
I brought everyone in that's been hired in my office, and I will continue to do so because you think it's a joke. I'm sorry, but that's what I choose to do because I want to be transparent to this council and the citizens of Beech Grove. I think they deserve it.
And I do believe, Dan, that you're doing it out of respect, so that nobody feels that they're left out.
And I'd just like to go to council on that and just for your thoughts on this.
Well, I agree with you. Pursuant to statute, you can appoint deputies in your office, and they serve at the pleasure of the clerk treasurer, so.
Thank you, Dan, for letting us know. And my only question is her resignation effective immediately, or did she give?
Her last day of employment was Wednesday before
So
Thanksgiving.
you're in the lurch.
Right, so this is someone that knows the position, knows the system. I don't have time unless, you guys want to come in and do payroll.
Yeah, well, that'd be a bad thing.
Other questions or comments from council members?
One other thing, there's no requirement to post a position. It's not like a public bid where we have to go through certain notice provisions, notice requirements. It's not necessary.
I just thought about being transparent. You would want to have an open opportunity for everybody, but I guess I was wrong.
Any other questions or comments from council members? The clerk has asked to move a employee over from part-time position to a full-time position, effective immediately. I'll ask for a motion to approve the recommendation from the clerk.
I will make said motion, sir.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, the same sign.
Aye.
Aye.
Passes 4-2. The clerk has now, in the second part, asked to fill a vacant position on a part-time basis. I'll ask for a motion to approve the hiring of a part-time clerk. Is that right?
That's correct.
I'll make said motion.
And I ask for a second.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, the same sign.
Aye.
Passes 5. Okay. Move on to another item within the clerk's office, additional appropriations from the 2013 budget. I'll defer to the clerk for consultation, please.
Below are requests for transfers of appropriations. I was working on these as late as today. The payroll uploads and vouchers were not completed until Saturday, November the 30th, and I am trying to project for the remainder of the year, so we do not need to call a special council meeting this month. Appropriation reports are available online for your review. You want these done individually?
We'll read them individually, but we'll approve them as one group, please.
Okay. Transfer $1,405.79 from fire instruction to fire garage and motor. Transfer $2,700 from fire health savings to fire garage and motor. Transfer $1,000 from sewage fuel to sewage regular salaries. Transfer $2,600 from sewage postage to sewage temporary salaries. Transfer $1,000 from sewage electric to sewage temporary salaries. Transfer $1,000 from sewage fuel to sewage temporary salaries. Transfer $18,000 from sewage landfill charges to sewage IDPW, which is our stormwater fee. Transfer $755.56 from sewage fuel to sewage IDPW. And transfer $2,000 from the clerk treasurer's office medical insurance to the fire garage and motor.
Questions or comments from council members?
Stan, on that 18,000, you're saying that's the stormwater? Is that 1 year or
Well,
is that?
I need to back up just a little bit on that. That is normally billed to the city, and right now we've got a large bill with them that was actually from last year because they failed to bill us on this. And so we're actually, what was budgeted for the year 2013 is going to come up short because of the previous leftover balance that I assumed.
How many paydays do we have left this year?
We've got, I believe, 2 more. Yeah.
Gonna make it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
You're scratching the bottom of the barrel.
I tell you what, last year I think I moved $5 in one account, so. John was right, this happens year in, year out, and I'm still not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that this will cover it so we don't have to.
It better, I don't
Yeah.
know. Thank you, Dan.
If there's no other questions or comments from council members, I'll ask for a motion to approve the transfer of funds.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. We'll instruct the clerk to transfer the funds as needed, please. Last order of new business is updates for the Redevelopment Commission and the Board of Zoning Appeals. At this time, I will defer to our council president for consultation on the Redevelopment Commission, please. Ed?
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, I believe I'll defer to the city attorney. He's got some updates to give to the council.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. It's come to our attention that, and I can't give you a historical perspective. I know that the RDC was formed after, or sometime in 2004 or 5, and after talking to several of the council members, essentially when you set up an RDC, there are 5 appointments, okay? There are 3 appointed by the mayor, 2 appointed by the council, and then there's 1 advisory person. I think it's actually from the school board. Throughout the time that it was established, somehow these terms got staggered. Okay, and again, these appointments should have been made all at once, and they serve 1-year terms, and they're up for reappointment every year. So essentially, probably at this meeting every year, we should have been appointing or reappointing new members. And that hadn't been the case. Some of these terms have gotten staggered, and again, I can't give you a historical perspective on how this happened. All I know is it should be fixed. I talked to Heather James, who advises us on RDC matters, and she concurs that this is something that should be fixed, and to be in compliance with the Indiana code. My suggestion would be that, again, the mayor will make his 3 appointments, that the council either reappoint the 2 they have now or take under advisement and decide what they want to do with these next 2 appointments at the next January meeting. It'll be timely because I think the RDC meets on the third Thursday of the month. Am I right, Joe? Okay, so having said that, I'll go back to Councilor Bell.
Okay.
You have any questions for me, sir?
No, I think that's pretty simple. Council, I believe what we'll do, in light of this information, is, and only in fairness of the members, to hold her off till our first meeting in January. We'll have Joe Griffin and Donald Webb is our 2 council picks. I have not heard, except for one name, that's interested in putting their name in, so I won't bring that up till in the January meeting. But if anyone does at that time, bring it up and we'll have a vote on that. Is that fair enough? Okay. Now, on the BZA updates, basically,
There's no motion before, is there?
no,
Yeah.
don't need a motion, I was just asking. All right, now on the BZA, we have 3 individuals that are currently on it and serving, and it looks like we have a letter that's asking to keep the appointments on the board. And the names of Diana Hendricks, Julie Weaver, and Joe Hay. I do not know, do we have to have a vote to go on this? Or
Well,
do we have any other names?
It's the same concept, folks. These should be made once, again, probably at this meeting, once a year. They serve 1-year appointments. And the way statutorily this is constructed, that BZA, the mayor has 3 appointments, and I believe the other 2 appointments are Indianapolis DMD appointments. The mayor can appoint anybody he wants as long as they're a citizen and they're over the age of 18, which he's done here. I think he's reappointing the 3 that are.
Wait a minute, that's not accurate.
Is that not?
No, in the email that I copied and give to you, the City of Indianapolis Department of Metropolitan Development asked that the council either reappoint their 3 appointments or present new people. One of the 2. It's up to the council.
Okay.
And they asked that you do that in January. So my letter was, hey, council, you have the option. There's 3 appointments. You have 3 appointments. Here's who's serving now. You can reappoint these folks, or you can appoint 3 new people. It's up to you. And that was going to be heard in January. The other 2 appointments on the BZA comes through the Department of Metropolitan Development. The mayor does not have an appointment to that board.
Then we'll continue on January meeting along with the RDC.
And at that time, council, we will do resolutions. Whoever you would like to appoint, we will do resolutions to that effect and give them to the appointing authorities. Any questions on that?
I just, does anybody have contact with those people to see if they're willing to continue to serve, or?
All 3 would like to continue to serve, but that's up to you folks.
That's all I want to know. Thank you.
No other questions? We'll move to council comments, beginning on my far right. Dave?
I want to thank everyone that showed up. I hope you have a nice Christmas and a safe New Year's.
Ditto.
Anthony?
I would just like to congratulate the middle school girls cross-country team again. Really good accomplishment. Also, congratulations to our judge, Andrew Wells, recently had a baby right before Thanksgiving.
Good.
So 2 girls now for him, so he's got his hands full. Also, ditto what Councilman Mobley said.
And congratulations to the girls. And my goodness, I'm just thinking, the middle school has got some fine athletes, because I believe the boys, the basketball teams did fantastic season too. So the high school is going to be booming, maybe with some good athletes coming up in the future. And everyone, thank you for coming, and hope everyone has a safe travels wherever they have to go in the holiday season. Merry Christmas.
And just like everybody before me, thank you for coming. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and everybody be safe. And thank you to all of our law enforcement and fire department.
Kathy?
Nothing I can say that sounds any better, so thank you all.
If I could have the 30 seconds of the council's time, our commander of the American Legion's here. Ron, can you do a real quick presentation for us?
Yes.
Please.
On behalf of myself and Beech Grove American Legion Post 276, we're donating 2 flags, 10 by 15 for the roundabout and down at the park.
All right.
Thank you for the
Thank-
time. And there they are.
Ron, thank you very much.
Fly weapons. Let us know we need to get gathered, we'll come and retrieve them and dispose of them properly.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
And I just have one more thing, if I might make a comment. Main Street looks awesome. I am so proud to be Beech Grove. It looks like Old Town USA, and everything is just beautiful. So thank you to everybody who had something to do with that.
Thank you. And on behalf of the city, we wish everyone a happy holiday. Motion to adjourn.